Hello, my fellow nerds. Today is Wednesday. If you are returning to my podcast, thank you so much. You have no idea how thankful I am and how much I love you for returning and listening to my podcast. Even if it's just listening to it like one podcast out of the 3 that I post during the week, it's still a huge thing, and I'm beyond grateful and thankful to you. If you are new to my podcast, hello. Take a seat. Preferably a big bag, like one of those big bean bag chairs, one of those big ones that are fluffy and soft. If you don't have one, well, trust me, I don't either, and I wish I had one too. But until then, you can listen to my podcast, and hopefully my podcast can make you feel fluffy and soft. So, I don't have an intro. I'm just going to tell you, this is the Nerd in Texas podcast, where I talk about movies, TV shows, books, video games, and anything you might consider nerdy. My name is Chanel, and I am your hostess. This is how I do my podcast. First part, I talk about my topic, and thank you so much to Kevin. I got these beautiful eye patches for my Bell's palsy in the mail today, and it gave me the idea for today's podcast, and that is Season 1 of The Magicians. It's a television show that aired on Sci-Fi. The reason why it gave me the idea is there is a character in this show called Margot, and she has to wear an eye patch. And she wears super fancy eye patches like the one that Kevin sent me. So it's just fitting. It's just perfect. And I love magicians. It just gave me a reason to do a podcast about it. The second part, I talk a little bit about me, any updates that I might have on my podcast. And today, I had the meeting with the dean of my college that got rescheduled, and we actually had it today. Am I in trouble? Well, will we finally get a conclusion to this saga, or will it be like a season of Dragon Ball Z, where it's a whole season of build-up and a fight scene at the end of the season, and then you don't know who survived the fight until the beginning of the next season? I really hope it's not like that. So stay tuned and find out what happened today. I kind of wish that I didn't do it this way just because of the mood it put me in, but I'm going to suck myself out of it and get this podcast to you because it's going to be a good one. I love The Magicians, and it'll help me keep my mind off of it. So before we dive into The Magicians, I thought I'd give you a tiny fun fact, something that I'm totally excited for, and I hope everyone else is excited for too. ScreenRant.com. I will leave the link in my notes. Posted a big article that I read every word about the new Batman, The Long Halloween, Part 1 animated movie starring Jensen Ackles as the voice of the Batman. I've always been in love with Jensen Ackles since day one of Supernatural, and I've always loved Batman, so it's just even more of a reason for me to be in love with him. I love DC, and what DC lacks in live-action movies, they dominate in animated movies, and I am so excited. So check out the ScreenRant.com's article, which will be in the notes in my website, and watch the trailer. I'll post it on Facebook. It's just so good. So now for the Season 1 of The Magicians. There are 5 seasons. The 5th season is the last and final season. Again, I won't be talking about spoilers because I want to encourage you to get on Netflix and watch this show. IMDb says it's rated TV 14, but I feel like it's got a lot of rated R scenes to it. I mean, it originally aired on Sci-Fi, and so Sci-Fi has always been like the Sci-Fi TV network, and they've always kind of been known to push the envelope, but if you want to watch it, it's on Netflix. The way I explain it is, it's like the adult American version of Harry Potter. And according to IMDb, the storyline is, after being recruited to a secretive academy, a group of students discovered that the magic they read about as children is very real and more dangerous than they ever imagined. But will getting hooked on the thrill of magic distract them from honing their powers when they need it the most? I'm not going to get into like the cast members and who plays who and this and that, because there is a lot of them and I will be going on and on and on and on. And I just kind of want to get to the nitty gritty. Just want to get to it. I'll also have the sci-fi.com about page as reference. And I'll have that in my podcast notes if you want to check that out as well. But they say, Quentin Coldwater arrives at Brakebills University, a school dedicated to training magicians. There he and fellow students Alice, Penny, Margot, and Elliot hone their skills, test their mettle, and form new and often problematic relationships, all while facing a dangerous and deadly threat from the magical world. Meanwhile, Quentin's friend Julia, rejected from Brakebills, pursues magic on her own and down a dark, often dangerous path. So this show is about Quentin Coldwater, and he arrives at Brakebills University. It's a school dedicated to training magicians. And so this school is kind of like Hogwarts, I guess you could say. And Quentin is like their Harry Potter. He's about to graduate from Yale, but he was also just released from a psychiatric hospital due to crippling depression. He's obsessed with a book series based on a fantasy magical place called Fillory. He and his best friend named Julia, who have read the books, she's read them too, but she's just not as obsessed as Quentin is. Like, she loves the books, but Quentin, like, breathes, and sleeps these books. You can also tell that he has, like, a huge thing for her, but she totally friend-zoned him. And I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning, I shipped them. Later on, I shipped Julia with somebody else, and I was like, nah. So just like any magical school, it shows them walking in what looks like a city, like New York City, when all of a sudden they're like walking to a beautiful college called Brakebills University. And it's Quentin and Julia, and they're both going there, like they're both separately going to this school. Quentin meets Elliot, and Elliot tells him, you're at a magical college, kind of like Hogwarts, but you have to take this exam before you can go there. So you have to take this exam before you're admitted to Brakebills and before you could practice magic. Julia has to do the same, but she fails the written part and is forced to go home. They attempt to wipe her memory, but she is so determined to remember it that she, like, cuts her arm so she, like, will wake up the next day and remember. Like, she just wants to remember. Quentin, on the other hand, passes everything and is enrolled. So it really flips things around. First, Quentin, outside of this magical world, is kind of a loser and doesn't really excel that much in anything. Julia is like Miss Popular, has a boyfriend, excels at everything, and then now she's like failing to go to this magical school, and it just kind of goes downhill for her. Quentin meets his classmates. He meets Alice, who may or may not become a new love interest, maybe. While Julie is trying to remember and fighting to find magic, Quentin is having dreams about Fillory and someone telling him about his path. You know, if you continue to go down this garden path, you're going to end up dead. And he can't tell, are these dreams real? Is this really happening? Or is it just me being so obsessed with these series that I'm having these dreams about it? So when he meets Alice, they eventually get together and they want to cast a spell to talk to her brother. Her brother died at the school. And so she did everything she could to be admitted to the school and is kind of like the Hermione. Like, she's good at everything, all the spells, all the stuff and things, because she's known about magic because of her brother, and she did everything she could to practice it so she could get to the school, try and contact him, and, Ouija board kind of thing without a Ouija board. So they go about their days when they do this spell. They go about their day because they think the spell went wrong, but what really happened is they release a bad guy who is threatening magic. So the first season is them trying to save magic in Brakebills University and take down the bad guy that they released. I'm not going to give you any more information about it just because, like I said, I want you to watch it. There's so many awesome other things that happen and so many other twists and turns. And one of the characters, her name is Margot. She's the one that has to wear the eye patch eventually. And she is my favorite. She's my favorite character. Now that I have this really cool sparkly eye patch, I kind of want to cosplay her. But she wears really sexy skin tight dresses, or I don't know, just stuff that I don't have the body for. And I don't know if I'd be able to pull it off. So get on Netflix, watch season 1. It kind of is slow and hard to watch at first, but at the end, you're like, okay, so this is what happened. I first watched the first episode. In the beginning, I was like, what is happening? This is so weird. And then by the end of the episode, I was like, oh, I need to know what happened. This is insane. I just have to watch it. And then I got hooked ever since. So, get on Netflix, watch The Magicians. If there's ever a time when you're like, oh man, I've already binge watched all of whatever and I can't find anything else to watch, try The Magicians. It's really good. Before I get into the second part and I talk about what happened to me at school in the meeting with the dean, here's some helpful tidbits for you. Hey nerds, you know I love helping you out. So I'm giving you a little tidbit on if you are wanting to start a podcast. I highly suggest you start it with Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast, and let me explain. 1, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, so hopefully that gets you rolling with starting a podcast. Let's get to the dreaded part right now. I don't even know. I don't even know where to start with this or how to feel about this. I finally had my meeting with the dean, and it is such a mess. My stomach is in knots right now. I have really bad anxiety about it. I just, it's one of those things where I just kind of, want to burst out in tears, but at the same time, I just got to deal with it the way I got to deal with it. So, in the initial email from the dean from the school, it shows these 4 charges. And so I thought it was something that was happening to the class as a whole, because we all participated in this group chat. We all participated in GroupMe, okay? Then he starts talking to me, and I have the whole conversation recorded, but I'm not going to post it or say anything about, put it on anything until after I figure out what's going to happen. So this GroupMe got way out of hand. I thought these 4 charges were against the class as a whole, and that was something that they were dealing with. But then I get in the meeting, and he explains that those were 4 charges against me. And the 4 charges were threats, retaliation, harassment, and academic dishonesty. And all of it is BS. S. There's a few students who were posting screenshots of the answers to the exams. I had the group chat on mute because there were so many freaking messages coming through. It was like, and it just like drove me insane. And honestly, the people drove me insane. The things that so I just muted it. I didn't want to deal with it. And so at the end of the night, I would scroll and see if there was anything that could have helped me or talked about anything that was due that I didn't know was due or anything like that. And I saw the screenshots and I saw the pictures, but I just kept scrolling and I never used it. And I just continued to do the work the way I do things, because I have a specific way that I handle school. So, and I even have an email from my professor saying, I don't have any evidence of you posting answers or selling answers or trying to buy answers. So you're okay with that. And yes, I saved that email and I'm glad I recorded this meeting on my end. So that's one thing we can check off. That is one thing that's debunked. I didn't do that. Okay? I never harassed anyone. I never, there was one person that is kind of in the center of it all, and I didn't get along with him because of some of the things he said to me about me being a single mom. Because there was actually 2 different group chats. One was about political topics, and he said something really crappy to me about being a single mom, and I left the group. So when everything happened and everything went down, someone said, we got snitched on, we this, we that, and I said, it was probably, and I quote, this was probably Tiny D, and you know what I mean by D. This is probably Tiny D Matt, because he is a see you next Tuesday kind of person. And I said that based on me butting heads with him because of something that he said. One, I said it in a private context with someone else. I didn't say it to Matt. So that was not harassing. Oops, did I actually say his name? I'll see if I can bleep that out. I did not seek him out and message him and bug him and spam him, and I didn't do anything like that. That is harassment. Harassment is when you just seek someone out and you're just you're this, you're that, da 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 da. Say that person blocks you, so you find another way to message that person and da 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 da. That is harassment. I didn't do that. So that debunked. That's something else I should not be charged with. He then says retaliation, that I said something like, we need to prevent future snitch situations. And what I meant was by not telling anybody anything, not, just pretty much just don't do this. Don't keep it on the down low, keep it on whatever. And it got completely taken out of context, and they took it as let's go find these people and beat them up so they'll never snitch again. Really? What is this? The mafia? It's a community college government class. And then someone posted that they found his address, and he asked, do you know who posted his address? Because we started using code names after that. And I was like, I have no idea. And it's true. I don't remember who it was. I don't know who posted it. Whatever. So retaliation, boom, that's done. Threats, I never threatened anybody. I never was I'm going to come find you and I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But I never did any of that. So Debunked. That's another thing that's debunked, okay? If you want to charge me for talking crap, go for it. And I told him that. A lot of kids that are in this group are 16 to 18-year-old kids. This is what they're going to do. This is what I did at that age. I did worse at that age, okay? But I am now 35 years old, so I take responsibility for what I said. So if you want to charge me for that, for talking crap, go for it. But I am not going to take responsibility for something I didn't do, which is academic dishonesty, harassment. I didn't do any of that. I'm just like mad and frustrated, and no one is on the same page. My professor tells me, no, you're good. I don't have anything against you. Here's the dean saying, oh, no, we have this against you. And so it's like, what's going on here then? What's going to happen? And I asked him that. So what's going to happen? And he pretty much said, I don't have anything against you that is like expelled type of situation, but I could get on probation. I could have like a verbal warning, a written warning, whatever the case may be. I mean, because of a whole bunch of stuff going on, I plan on taking a break during the summer anyways. But it's just I'm so close. I'm one semester away from graduating. That's all I want to do. And I've had nothing but problems with this school for a long time, with being put in classes that I didn't even need to take, wasting my time, and it's just so frustrating. Like, I just want to graduate. That's it. I'm like I said, I'm just mad. I'm frustrated. My stomach is in knots. I have really bad anxiety. I want to bust out in tears, but at the same time, I don't. And it's just crazy. Like, I never, ever, ever, ever sit there and say, like, oh man, I really need to get drunk. But today, I do. I really do. Like, it's just so frustrating. Yeah, so that's how everything went down. I will find out 5 to 7 business days. He said probably the beginning of next week, I'll get a message from him telling me what I'm charged with and what my punishment is and all that fun stuff, all those shenanigans, those evil shenanigans. I'm just ready for this to be over. I'm ready for this semester to be over. I don't even want to go to this class anymore. I don't even want to deal with the professor anymore. I don't want to deal with anybody anymore. I'm over it. I'm just done. It's stupid. And I just wish people would be on the same page. Just wish, ugh. Yeah. So that's what happened to me. This concludes my podcast for today. I will leave all my links, like my Willow link, in my podcast, in my description. If you like my podcast, head on over to my Ko-fi page and leave me a tip in my virtual tip jar. I ordered stickers and keychains. I didn't get a lot of keychains just because I wasn't sure like what kind of a demand there would be for them. But if you make a donation, you can get a keychain. I'm also gonna sell them, so yeah, either buy them or sell them. I mean, either buy them or make a donation and you can get a keychain. I hope everyone has a great Wednesday. I am going to try and just like chill and calm down. I'm going to drink a bunch of water, see if I can get rid of this anxiety. And I hope everyone has a great Wednesday, a great rest of the week. I know I'm probably forgetting something that I need to say in here, but I'm kind of over it for today. So everyone have a super day. I love every single one of you. I'm thankful for every single one of you. Thank you for putting up with me. You are the best. Peace, love, and everything nerdy. Peace out, Girl Scouts. Bye.